What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Jersey Devils Brocast. My name's Papa Reese of Reese Fan Riper, and I'm here with my brother Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. We're going to get into some big news that's been happening over at the Prudential Center and in the New Jersey Devils world. But before we get into this, I just want to thank Mike Ham again for having us on and doing our second Brocast here on the Jersey Devils Brocast. Thanks for the opportunity. And thanks to Ron Santi for bringing us in all the way from the Pine Barrens. And we're broadcasting live from the deep within the swamps of Jersey. So we got a lot of big news going on, Jim, huh?
A lot. Yeah, man. We had a nice night last night. Went toward Prudential Center. So the locker room. So the fitness center.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
That was great. That was a good time. So in a positive mood, even after the Hughes news. But
right.
Right now, Devils are down 1-0 after the first period. So we will
not looking
see
too
if the
good right now.
good feelings continue.
Yeah, the good times need to roll. It actually is Fat Tuesday. Laissez le bon temps rouler, which is French, which they speak in Quebec. You know,
yeah.
So anyway,
Like Marty.
Yeah, like Marty Brodeur.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get into our big segment, Ice Cold Dudes, in the third period is what we call it. We're gonna play some music for you too, but J-Bake actually has a monologue for us.
The trade deadline season, that glorious time of year when us fans get to play fantasy GM and make our own trade ideas, come up with our own plans, and dream big dreams of the future. For far too long, that future for the Devils at the deadline has been the far distant future, trading our young players on expiring contracts for younger picks and prospects and other players under team control. For far too long, us Devils fans are playing a draft lottery on NHL Tankathon, posting it up on Facebook and thinking about winning big and getting yet another first overall pick of many that we've had. For far too long, we've been the sellers, and rarely have we been the buyers. But for millennial fans like me and Reese, or even our Gen X and Boomer fans out there, there was once a time when it was always about winning now. Every year was about getting the extra players to make the run, and up until the last several minutes of our game in Vegas, it looked like we'd be finally back there again. We've had our moments, Meyer in 23, picked up Michael Grabner Maroon in 2018, but this year finally felt like we were here and we're all going in. But I don't know if you've been under a rock lately, Devils fans, but things changed a little bit at the end of the Vegas game.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Hughes goes down, leaves the ice holding his right arm, and it all looks lost. But is it? Is there another Jack Hughes available? No, there isn't. He's one of a kind. We all know that.
Oh, yeah.
But can they still be aggressive at the deadline and use this bad news to their advantage? They probably could. Looks like $8 million is probably going to go on LTIR, though Hughes is still being evaluated, just flew out to Denver. And apparently he's contemplating surgery or not. But that gives the Devils, with him and Siegenthaler, about $11 million of cap space to make some additions. This might be one of those consequential deadlines for Fitzgerald's term as GM, because this one isn't cut and dry. They're not in dead last and selling. Nope. They're not contending for the Metro Division title and definitely buying. They're in the middle. This one's a little cloudy. Can they contend with what they have? Were they going to contend anyway, considering how mediocre they've been? As per the rumors, it looks like Fitzgerald believes they can. A core of Heischer, Bratt, Meyer, Hamilton, Luke Hughes, Pesce, and Markstrom can still contend and go deep in the playoffs, I think. Markstrom's having a hell of a year. So let's not punt on this one. I'm not saying be ridiculous and sacrifice the future and trade everything we have and go all in. But with all this money freeing up in the cap and the many assets we still do have, I really do believe they could go out and get several mid-six forwards, top six forwards, and make this a deeper team. Maybe do a little Moneyball here. Back in, if you guys know the movie Moneyball, you don't replace Jason Giambi with another Giambi. You replace him with three other players.
Right.
And that's what I'm thinking about right now. In the worst case, Hughes doesn't come back. They have a deeper team. Maybe they can contend. But, of course, still not as good as they are with him. Right. But a deeper team might be able to withstand a grueling playoff marathon. Best case, Hughes and Siegenthaler come back, which now they're allowed because the LTIR money doesn't count in the playoffs. They got a deeper team around them. And we're primed for a run that this franchise has been dying for. So don't punt on this one, Fitzgerald. And all the negative fans out there, by the way.
Right.
The season's over.
People are losing their minds.
Like, relax, have a beer, listen to the podcast, chill
Yeah.
out. Make the moves. Let's get better. Let's use a cap to our advantage. And as always, let's go Devils.
That's right. I like that.
Yep.
I like that. So, basically, Devils may be in a bad area right now with Jack going down last night.
Yep.
Or 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
In Vegas. And Vegas all around, we were not given enough pressure in that game.
No.
We weren't looking like a team that could go deep in the playoffs, even with Jack in there.
Yeah, and that's what makes it, like, if they've been on a run lately where they've been getting 60% of their points and they've been like climbing the ladder here and keep going, but they've been win lose, right? And then you have this weekend epitomizes everything. They
really
beat
does,
Utah.
yeah.
I felt like they had the same game against Utah as they did against Vegas. They just ran into a better team in Vegas. They made a few mistakes. Special teams didn't come through, which that's their bread and butter.
The special teams was like painful to watch. It's been painful to watch, like even before Four Nations. You think coming back from Four Nations, we had a couple good runs with our special teams power play and the penalty kill, but it's just not adding up. And when you, like you were saying, like when you play those good teams like the Stars, man, you gotta play like this is playoff. Because now this is the push. It was March 1st, and we're gonna make that push to the playoffs. And before the game and watching the first couple periods, you're like, oh, we really need someone. We really need to make a big trade at that deadline. But now, do you make the trade? Nothing official has come back about Jack Hughes and his injury, but he just had surgery on his arm or shoulder last year, right?
Yeah.
Right, and he actually went back to the hospital or the doctors that did the surgery because he was in Denver, right? When the
injury was in Vegas,
right?
But I
Vegas,
guess he flew back to Jersey to get evaluated by the Devils guys, and
so they sent him already out.
When you go to the specialist, it's bad news. It's like when pitchers go to the Tommy John surgery specialist, like, ooh.
Right.
That's not good.
Yeah, and that's a guy you need if you want to make a big, deep run. Slow, deep, and hard run into that playoff. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Back typo negative.
That's what we like.
Oh, yeah.
So it sounds to me like you're thinking maybe we don't make a push.
The fan inside of me wants to make a push. I'm sure the guys that are on the team, Meyer, like Dawson, Markstrom, he just joined the team. Like they want to compete. Like these are competitors. These people are like born to compete their whole entire lives. So they want to make a run, but is the GM, is Fitzy, is the money makers gonna do that?
Take the risk.
On any other team or anything like that, I would say maybe punt. But like you were saying, the contracts that are coming up are not like players that you need to move right now.
Yeah, it's not even like the Devils have a lot of guys. Well, you know what? We have let's say it was Timo Meyer and Brad. Right. They're or Meyer 2 years ago, and the Devils were in the reverse. They were the sellers, not the buyers.
Right.
It's like, all right, now that maybe you can say, yeah, but look, you can trade this guy for a huge package, and you're not going to maybe that can help reset things going into the offseason, yada yada. Like the Devils are in this middle ground right now, where you can argue they're buyers and you can argue they're sellers. I'm still leaning into buying though, I think Fitzgerald. It looks like that's what he's doing. Some of the news that's been going out today, wild on social media, that apparently he reached out to Carolina, and this is per James Nichols from the NHL. This is via the Devils Report on Instagram. Very good one.
Very good.
Devils called Carolina Hurricanes to let them know if they're selling Mikko Rantanen. They're being in the mix. I mean, sounds like buying to me.
Yeah.
They've been in the mix for a center. I know Evans just came off the board today. He signed an extension in Montreal, but a lot of these guys they've been in the mix for. I think they're still going to be. Yeah,
that would be Rantanen. I would take him.
Yeah, and at this point, you think you'd get him for a low price,
right? And also, someone that we were talking about last week, and someone that we personally have been talking about is, Brad Marchand. The Rat, like we want him,
Yeah.
but he actually just got injured as well.
How did our poll end up on Instagram?
Oh yeah, actually, people were saying yes.
Yes,
I think
the
it was
majority
mainly
vote.
yes.
Okay,
we
good.
had like one or two no's, but
Good.
I actually had a close friend of mine, Paul Byer.
Okay.
He's a Rangers fan,
Ooh.
and he actually said you would be ridiculous not to want him.
Yeah,
on your team.
it's
You
like
know.
these Devils. I don't know, maybe because you and I grew up with Claude Lemieux, so it's
Right.
like we remember what that's like to have a guy like that on your
You
team.
need those guys.
It's awesome.
You need those
Why
guys.
wouldn't you want a guy like that on your team?
Exactly.
Who's going to stir shit up? And also, it sounds like he's a great teammate. He's a captain there.
He
for,
does.
For
It's
a
like if he's
reason.
on your team,
Yeah.
you're gonna love him.
Yes.
If he's not, you hate him.
You hate
I
him,
feel.
and they
Yeah.
need that. And I think a guy that he's been to 3 Cup finals, he's won once,
Right.
few gold medals, he's
Yep.
played big in big moments. He gives you a dynamic that you just don't have with his sandpaper in his game and his
Yeah.
ability to stir things up. He's still a very good player. I think he's on pace for like a 65-point season.
Right.
I mean, if
He's
the
gotten
price
better
is
through
right,
his
why
career.
wouldn't you want him? You know, if the price is right, I want Brad Marchand, and that's an
Absolutely.
attitude I want on this team because this is a guy that's used to winning. That's what you
Right.
want. Like, I want
Cup
to
winner. That's what I put out
Yeah.
there. Cup winner. Voice
Yeah.
in the locker room. Veteran. Puts
Yeah.
up points. Like, do you want him? But I've heard a lot from other friends, that are huge Devils fans, and they're
Yeah.
like, he will be a locker room toxin. There's no way. We need him in there, and like, I don't know about that because it seems like they love him in Boston, and he's like the team leader.
Yeah.
But is he going to be like Devils caliber? Like every locker room is different. Like, does the Devils have the same type of locker room?
and I think
that they change.
Yeah, and I think the Devils have a younger group here, but maybe they need it.
Right.
Maybe they need it.
Maybe they need it. And I think it would be a huge pickup. I really
love
do
it.
think it was a huge
I'm all-
pickup.
yeah.
And especially if Jack Hughes isn't in there. And if you're worried about Jack Hughes, hey, we all are. But don't get too worried, okay? Don't be swinging from a rope, as this Reese Van Riper song has you doing. This is Swing by Reese Van Riper. Don't give up, Kenny. Don't give up. Welcome back to the Jersey Devils Brocast. And we're here on Radio Garden State, keeping New Jersey loud. Let me give you the details on those bands you just heard, all right? We just heard Tiny Ships, Fear the Blur, off their album Peak, their debut album Peak. They just had a show at the Ritz in Scranton, PA, and it looked dope as hell. Congratulations, guys. And congratulations on April 13th. Tiny Ships is going to be playing the Prudential Center, where the Devils are going to be playing the Islanders at 1 p.m. If you want tickets for that, check out their Instagram, Tiny Ships. And the first song you heard was Swing by Reese Van Riper off their album Sinner Saints and Psychopaths. Going into the studio, Reese Van Riper is in March with Kevin and Trajan from Backroom Recording Studios to record their album, or EP I should say, The American Dream. And that releases on July 4th, 2025. There's a release show right now at Pet Shop in Jersey City, July 24th, 8 p.m. with Fair Panic. And right in the middle there, you heard Acrobat by Surfing for Daisies off their self-titled album that just came out this year. We met Surfing for Daisies at White Eagle Hall in 2024 when we played Jersey Fest, thanks to Greetings from the Garden State and Radio Garden State. They actually have a East Coast tour coming up. Check it out at surfingfordaisies.com. And it seems like Devils goaltenders have to be a bit of a acrobat themselves. As of late, they just let up another goal going into the second period with the Dallas Stars right now.
2-1. Meyer scored to cut the lead, but more bad news. Dougie Hamilton did not come out for the second period.
Oh, God.
I'm seeing, only 7 shifts in the first, 5 minutes, 15 seconds, time on the ice, so does not look good.
Does not look good.
Yeah, this is, I'm trying to be positive here.
Right.
But it does... It's starting to get a weird kind of vibe, like the wheels are starting to come off and like some things are happening that are just out of our control.
And we're watching it all in real time now.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is a bottom.
Right.
Hell, the Devils played for a while without Brodeur that one year, and they did great, so you never know.
Very true.
And we don't know what's going to come up at the deadline later in the week.
Meyer just put in a great goal, too. So, he was talking about, since the injury with Jack, I read somewhere that he was talking about, now this means that everyone has to, step up and play the game that they were born to play. Yeah. And that's what we really haven't been seeing. We saw them, earlier in the season, they did great, but people were getting into their schemes, like you were saying, and now that the teams are tightening up, you want to see more goals. You want to see more defensive play by the Devils and stuff like that, and we just haven't been seeing that as of late. But Meyer he's a voice in the locker room.
Yeah, and he's a hell of a player. I know a lot of fans have been on him, but you look at a lot of his advanced stats, and I mean, it's like he's not playing bad. I know he's also not on the first power play, and that's been his bread and butter his whole career. That's been a big reason he scores a lot of goals, so that's going to have an impact. He's a hell of a player. If he gets going, that's a big deal. But this feels like one of those games the Devils really, really have to win right now.
Absolutely.
We have I'm a little bit of a delay here on ESPN Plus, but about 8 minutes left. 2-1 Dallas.
Right.
But yeah, this feels like a game that they got to really try and tie this up later in the period here.
So I want to hit one of our segments here on Jersey Devils Brocast called Putt Talk. That's right. Puck Talk. This is going to be teaching you guys words that you may be hearing while you're watching hockey that you may not understand. Today's Puck Talk. Oh, yeah. Today's Puck Talk is the hat trick. What is a hat trick? Well, a hat trick, does it involve a magician and a rabbit? It could. I guess so. We haven't seen that on the ice yet, but it's when an individual player scores 3 goals in a single game. Okay, there is also a Gordie Howe hat trick. Okay, that's a goal, an assist, and a fight. And it only happened twice in Gordie Howe's career, in his 5-decade career. Okay, but the first one was on October 11th, 1953 against the Maple Leafs, and the second actually occurred on March 21st, 1954. Once again against the Maple Leafs. We know how much love there are between the Canadiens and the Maple Leafs.
Oh, yeah.
But were there any Devils recently that had a Gordie Howe hat trick?
So there's only 2 in Devils history.
Right.
The great Timo Meier, who we're just talking about. And Devils legend, put him on Mount Rushmore, Sergei Kalinin.
Oh boy!
And I think that was in 2016, which was it was the 15-16 season, which was certainly one to forget.
Right. Yeah.
Only Timo Meier, Sergei Kalinin have had Gordie Howe hat tricks.
Right.
And looks like the most Gordie Howe hat tricks in NHL history are by Rick Tocchet.
Rick Tocchet,
but Brendan Shanahan's up there too, a former Devils legend.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I like that. Brendan Shanahan, wow. Talk about an ice cold dude, huh?
Yeah.
We'll be getting into the ice cold dude segment in our third period.
Okay.
But right now we're going to talk some trade talk.
Okay.
So what do we got right now, Jim?
Well, Devils have been linked to a lot of players, but certainly the theme has been center icemen and top 6 wingers. So we're seeing, and that's been an issue for them. I think even tonight, let's look at the face-off stats. They've only won 42%. So that's been an issue. And
we were doing well against face-offs in the Avalanche game, which we lost.
Yeah, they've had a real rough time with that, and it's a little hard to play, and when you're constantly losing a puck off every single draw. And Nico Hischier and Lazar have been pretty good face-off guys, but that's not enough. So they've been linked to Jared McCann, Ryan Donato, 2 center icemen, though Donato and McCann both can play wing and center. Right. Brock Nelson, very good centerman. I'd love to have him on this team, even with the bad news. Right. Ryan O'Reilly, older player, signed 2 more years, center iceman. And then Braden Schenn, if you remember Ilya Kovalchuk, your favorite Devil ever.
Oh, yeah, not really. Oh, man, I wanted to love him so bad. He broke my fucking heart. He shattered it on the goddamn floor.
He beat up Braden Schenn when he was on the Flyers back in the day. Yeah, and that was so that's kind of been the theme. Some other top 6 wingers. That fight came up
the other day.
Yeah. Alex Tuck over in Buffalo, who I like a lot. Kind of a power forward, big guy. He's a winger. Does play a little bit of center, but he's mostly a winger. This guy's familiar, Kyle Palmieri,
Oh,
over
yeah.
in the Islanders. We always love Palmieri. Wish
I
he was
love
still
Palmieri,
here. Jersey
but
kid.
is he what's going to bring us to a cup right now?
I think he could be one of 2 or 3 players that could. You know, if you go and acquire him and a few other guys. And the other one that's kind of an interesting one, or there's 2 that I think would be kind of the earth-shattering. Devils would be front page news in the NHL world. Would be Jordan Kyrou in St. Louis, who signed for a while.
Absolutely.
Viewed as the future of St. Louis, but apparently they're looking to shake things up and trade a guy like Kyrou to start resetting their roster. And this whole Rantanen drama down in Carolina.
Right.
They pick him up, try to sign him to an extension, and as of right now, he hasn't. Sounds like he's kind of hell-bent on going to free agency unless
somewhere.
he's blown away.
But they're doing well.
Yeah,
So
I mean they haven't
he must
done,
really not like the locker room. Is he a drama queen?
He
What's
hasn't.
going on?
He hasn't done great. Like their record isn't that great since he's been there.
Right.
So you know that's kind of been part of the issue. But as per James Nichols, like we said earlier, Devils
Right.
called Carolina, let him know they're selling Mikko Rantanen to be in the mix. It'd be a bizarre situation because looks like. The way the Devils are playing, they might be sliding down soon. But right now, they'd be playing Carolina in the first round. Would they really trade Mikko Rantanen to the team they're going to play in the first round of the playoffs?
Exactly.
Unless it's for like a king's ransom.
That's why it makes no sense
It
to me.
doesn't make any sense.
It's too good to be true type of thing.
Yeah.
How's Boston doing right now? What's Boston look like?
They've still been struggling. I don't have a score.
But I need to know if we're going to get Marchand because I would
You
love
love
that.
him.
I love him. You know why? Because I've always friggin' hated him.
Yep.
Because he's such a problem on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's licking people. That would be awesome in a Devils uniform. Are you kidding me? That's exactly what this organization
do.
needs. A guy.
They need
that
a
does
guy
that
that
kind of
licks
shit,
people.
You know,
for years.
You know, they haven't had a guy that like brings it to the next level in about 30 years, 25 years. Everyone else like more professional and stuff, but he puts up numbers too.
He is. He's a hell of a player. I mean, Brad Marchand is probably going to go in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Right. He's well on the way. If he's not, I don't know if he's a clear-cut guy.
When he came out, though,
But
it didn't
he's
seem like
probably-
he would. But
No.
then he perfected his game.
Yep.
He got into people's heads. You know, he's not like a Sean Avery type of character. You know, he does have that aspect, but he puts up numbers. You know,
Yeah, he's just a much better player.
Much
He's a Hall
better
of Famer.
player.
You know,
Absolutely.
he's had a hell of a career up in Boston. He has 976 points. I mean, if he plays 2 more years, he's going to have over 1,000 points. He'll be maybe not first ballot Hall of Famer, but he'll be in there.
He'll be in there.
And again, like we said earlier, he's a winner. He's won
He
a
is.
Stanley Cup. He's been played well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Gold medals, all that stuff. But looking at this entire list, I think, given knowing what we know right now, I think that if the Devils could even go out and you get a Palmieri, a Donato, and a McCann or something like that, like I know that's not necessarily the A list,
Right.
but I think that's enough to maybe keep them competitive and hoping Hughes comes
Keep the
back.
ball rolling.
But I know my buddy, I debate him all the time on Facebook groups, Joe Robb. I talk to him all the time on Devils All just a shout out because I think he said he would be listening to the show.
What's up, J-Rob?
But he, kind of brought up the point of like maybe some guys with term. And I agree with that. I think that should be the priority, especially now with Hughes going out. But doesn't mean you don't do anything. Bring in some guys that can help you win now, but maybe the priority does shift a little bit to like a guy like O'Reilly, 2 more years. Kyrou has a long time.
Right.
Like Alex Tuck has another year on his contract. McCann, I believe, is signed for a little bit here too. That those might be the guys that if you can prioritize and pick them up,
You're right.
it might be worth it still.
So basically, what we're saying is the Devils seem to have been in a stagnant lake for a couple of weeks there leading up to Four Nations. And then, you know, everything we've been talking about is entirely true. Something needs to happen, especially now if we're missing Jack Hughes for the rest of the season, possibly. If he's going back for surgery, we don't know. They won't tell us the truth. But you know who will tell you the truth? Whatever happens, we're still waiting on the rapture. And this is Waiting on the Rapture with the extensions with Waiting on the Rapture. Ooh, yeah. This is Papa Reese, and you're listening to the Jersey Devils Brocast here on Radio Garden State. We want to thank you for listening in tonight. We know there's a game on, and we appreciate you listening. It actually just became 3-1. And, you know, 3-1 going into the third. As we're going into our third period now, Let me give you the list of bands that we just heard. The first one you heard was Entirely True by Fair Panic off their new album, Love Cloud. There's an article about it on Blood Makes Noise. You can check them out. They're on Mint 400 Records, as is Reese Van Riper. And this band here, Yawn Mower, with Stagnant Lake, off of To Each Their Own Coat. They got a show coming up in April, the April 12th at Low Dive in Asbury Park. Hell yeah. We would love to play there, RVR and I. So if you know anybody there, let them know that we're ready to rock the fuck out. And you also heard the Extensions, who are playing at Silk City in Philadelphia on Friday, March 21st, with Local Honeymoon. You listen to their song, Waiting for the Rapture, which is actually a song that I did a review for on You Don't Know Jersey. I love that song. I think it's their best song that they have ever written. And when I talked to Brian, he's like, oh yeah, tell me how you like this one. And I'm like, oh, that boy wrote that song for me, Papa Reese. And they actually are releasing another single called Green Flags. And I would love a green fucking flag for the Devils right now, but it looks like they're getting crushed under pressure.
Yeah, two guys in the box.
It's bound to happen.
That's what's going to happen against a team like Dallas.
Yeah, you got Luke and Kovacevic.
Yeah, Luke and Kovacevic in the penalty box. You can't take bad. And Kovacevic, that was a delay of game, just throwing the puck over the glass.
I fucking hate that. That's
that
like
always
one of the
bites
worst.
you in the ass, and it just seems like this has been kind of another thing that epitomizes the last 2 months. I keep saying it, but they start coming back into the game, they start playing well, get a little bit of momentum, they're hanging around, and then take 2 penalties, 5-on-3 against Dallas, and this is what happens.
Kovacevic. Why do you even say his name? It's like something.
Kovacevic?
Kovacevic, yeah. Kovacevic reminds me of those old school guys. Pretty good,
Yeah.
And he kind of seems like an ice cold dude. And now we're entering our third period. We're going to be talking about some ice cold dudes. This is when I get J-Bake. Okay, we're going to try to get J-Bake here. We're going to give him the teams of a Devils player who is an ice cold dude. Oh, yeah. They're going to blow the whistle on him for sure, boy. Yeah, get that going. Anyway, let me give you the teams.
Okay.
And you tell me the player.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Obviously, Devils.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers.
Okay.
Whalers.
Okay.
Thrashers.
Yeah. Bobby Holik.
Yeah. We got it again.
Yeah, he was the captain of the Thrashers.
Oh, hell yeah. That was fucking awesome.
Whalers, Devils, Rangers, Thrashers, and
Oh,
back to New
yeah.
Jersey. Yeah, oh yeah.
There you go, baby. Yeah, ring that bell, ring that bell. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Way to go, Jim. That was great.
I'm 2 for 2.
You're 2 for 2. So, we have a lot more to talk about here. Trade deadline, and I'm hating this game. We're down 3-1.
Yeah.
It's obviously not Markstrom's fault. We're not just performing. We're not showing what Timo was saying that we were going to show, which is everybody's got to show that they're going to step up and play their best game, and that's not happening right now. I'm feeling like a punt may be in order, but I don't want to.
Yeah, they I like we said before, they don't really have anybody to trade to we're going to grab a ton of picks, prospects, or whatever. Other than the only person I can think of is maybe Dawson Mercer,
right.
But I think he's a valuable guy to trade for a guy now.
I think so too.
And I'm just kind of as I'm watching this game, there's just been yet another moment here in the last, frankly, for 10 years.
Right.
I'm just really sick and fucking tired of losing.
I am so
tired. Sick and tired of it. It's just when you look at this team even tonight, you got Nico Hischier, you got Jesper Bratt, you got Timo Meier. Now Hamilton is down, but still you got Luke Hughes. You have a decent group of players that should be more competitive than they are tonight. And I am just really sick of losing. It's like karma's come back for the Devils after they did well for so long. And well, no matter what you do now, you're still, something's going to happen.
And they didn't, they did great 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They went to the playoffs. They went deep into the playoffs.
One of the best regular seasons in history for them.
And they have a team now that I think is even better.
Yeah,
and
I do too.
It's just something's not clicking. I don't know if it's the lines. They were playing with the lines for a little bit. They brought it back. They were looking good in those last 2 games.
Yeah.
And then, you have an injury like Hughes. But you know who I wish they had right now? The guy who is the ice cold dude. Bobby Holik. I was reading up some stuff about Bobby Holik. Since 2017, I didn't know this, Holik has run a hockey school in Israel.
Really?
I had no idea. Yeah. He's not Jewish, but he has his country, Czechoslovakia, right, is got a big, Jewish population. So he actually has gone down there and has a hockey school down there in Israel, and he coaches their U18 and U20 programs, which is fucking awesome, I think. Fischler's down there too, right? Israel now. Stan, the Maven?
I don't know. Did he end up moving there?
He actually moved down there with his son, stuff like that. But Holik is also, I read this, an avid rifle, pistol, and shotgun enthusiast.
Yeah, I know he used to have a farm out in Wyoming.
Right, yeah. He went back and forth from there.
Yeah, he was a bit of a lightning rod in the locker room. There's some good moments of, I think it was John Madden calling out Bobby Holik back in the day. And, Bobby...
John Madden, ice cold dude.
He's another ice cold dude.
Let's play the start. Oh yeah, here we go.
They could really use Bobby Holik on faceoffs right now. He was
one
of the best
faceoff.
He was one of the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was one of the best defensive forwards in the game. I think Bobby, if I remember right, in the late '90s, he started to get a little bit of an ego because he started scoring a little bit, wanted more ice time. But he's
and
one
they
of
broke all our fucking hearts by going to the Rangers,
and then they won the cup. So whatever. And they, one of many Devils in history that I think they went for the payday, went for first line minutes. Right. Not really. I mean, maybe they did realize, but they went for the money. But they were in the perfect situation. New Jersey.
Really were.
Holik was the second line center in Jersey, which was exactly where he needed to be.
And right now, it seems like we need a first line center or a second line center. Again,
watching a game like this, they could use John Madden. You know what line they could really use right now?
What's that?
That Madden, Pandolfo, Langenbrunner line from back in the day.
Funny story about Pandolfo. The first year I got season tickets for the Devils was the year that they went to Prudential Center. And I took the train down, got a train pass they created. It gives you a little discount on getting down to the game. And the first hat trick that people thought that they had, because, they change, who gets the goal at the end. We thought it was Jay Pandolfo. And, he's a working man's fucking player. You know what I mean? He really put in the time, put in the effort. It wasn't like glitzy, glamoury. He
was
in
a
time.
blue-collar guy. Yeah.
So I'm up there in Section 210, and I'm wasted. And I throw my hat, because everyone's throwing their hat because they think Pandolfo has the hat trick. So we're throwing the hats, and then all of a sudden they take it. Someone's like, "Hey, Van Riper," because I can see him back in my jersey. Van Riper, throw the bottle, and I throw the bottle, which was plastic, and then in 2 seconds, I'm surrounded by security guards, and they're pointing at me to come down. Yeah,
really
shocking.
Wow,
shocking.
Okay.
I went down. I'm like, this is crazy. I got a season ticket holder. Yeah. But luckily, I got to keep my season tickets, and I learned my lesson. I never did that again. But, absolutely.
When someone's yelling at you, throw the bottle. It's one of those moments. Maybe I should think about what I'm about to do right now.
Well, I at that time in my life, I didn't think about much of anything. That's why I bought tickets for season tickets the first year in Newark. So it was risky, but we did it, and we came out fine. And now we actually went there the other day, and we had a great time there.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you so much, Tonia, for that. Our contact down at New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, nice tour.
And hopefully we'll be doing a radio broadcast from the concourse at some time.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Beyond that, we're going to be, Reese Van Riper is going to be playing both intermissions next year or next season at a Devils game. So keep in contact about that, and we're sure we're going to bring that back up while we're on Radio Garden State, which actually does a lot of stuff with the New Jersey Devils and Prudential Center right now. And trade deadline Friday.
Yeah.
No, all bets are off. What goes on?
I don't know. What are your predictions here? What do you think Devils are going to do?
If the Devils don't do anything, it means I think they want to punt it. I
Yeah.
think they're done with this season. And do you blame Fitzy for that? He's keeping money. But you know what? You know who's going to blame Fitzy if they punt it? The team, the players.
Yeah, it feels like a give up, like the Mets talked about when they, kind of went out and grabbed a few guys, how it felt like they bought into the team.
Yeah.
It feels like then what do you have to play for?
Right.
If that's what your front office, your boss feels that you guys aren't going to be good enough anyway.
Right.
I think they're going to bring in a few guys. I hope they do. And looking at this game tonight, I think they could really use an injection of some new voices and faces in the locker room. And maybe they need guys like Marchand
Absolutely.
to come in and no, this guy has a voice that means something. And maybe they need a few more guys like that.
If he's okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if he played.
Yeah, I know he has an upper body
But,
injury.
If he's okay, he might be the guy, not to put up the numbers, but to put the fear of God into people they play, which allows Nico to score, which allows Dawson Mercer to score, which allows Bratt to do his thing. There's a lot of things at play. Are they getting that prospect that they got from the Oilers in that trade? Are they getting that guy to give to Boston? Since he's from Boston,
Yeah.
maybe he wants a hometown.
And they just did Boston a favor eating
Right.
half of Frederick's contract. So
Give me
maybe
a
there's a
break.
little bit more going on here. But I
Than we
also,
think.
Fitzgerald had some interesting comments after the season last year about how the guys weren't following all the dress codes and were late.
Yeah, I
There's
hate
something that I'm just wondering if there's an again, I'm just guessing. I don't
Right.
know.
We
But
don't
almost
know.
like an overconfidence with some of these young guys where things are going well and we can start being a little lax. And maybe the Devils need some more guys to police themselves in that locker room and hold people accountable.
Absolutely.
Because at a certain point like this, I haven't seen... this mediocre play, and even a game like tonight, it's like this is starting to feel like something's starting to spiral here, and they need to do something.
Right. The plane's
And
crashing.
It
right
takes
now.
two to tango. I've seen all these fans talking about why hasn't he done anything yet. Well, are you going to blow a team away and give much more than a player is worth, or are you going to wait to make the right trade? Probably wait to make the right trade, but I really think they need some new voices, and maybe they could use some trades to really shake up the chemistry here.
I agree. I really think that they got a lot to think about, and I think you guys do too. Thanks so much for listening to the Jersey Devils Brocast with us here on Radio Garden State. We're going to be back next week at 9 p.m. till 10 p.m., and we're going to be talking about the games coming up and the trades that hopefully happen until Friday.
Yep.
But again, we just want to thank you so much for listening. And we're going to leave you guys with a song by Reese Van Riper called Race Against the Devil. And it'll take you into your next show. Thanks for listening to the Jersey.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much. Jersey Devils Brocast, ladies and gentlemen. Keep New Jersey loud.